What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. We are here at Tokyo Expressway for the daily race C on the outer loop. I don't know, one of the loops, but it's Tokyo Expressway. You guys already know what to expect. Walls, shenanigans, craziness, carnage, all the above. We are here in our Toyota 86 Group 4 car as we starting in 4th place with a 1:16.4 second lap time. Not too shabby, but you can see right ahead of us that pole position is only 1/10 away from us. So it's going to be a very, very close race as I believe the top, 4, 5, 6 are only separated by half a second. So it's going to be a really, really close race here as we jump up into the lobby now. So when coming into the race, it's going to be a 15 lap race where you can see on the bottom right, we're required to use the hards and the mediums. So my strategy here is just to start off on the hards, hold off as many cars as I can. It's very, very narrow on this track, so you can really block easily here when trying to defend your position on the cars behind you. And then around lap 8 or 9, switch off from the hards to the mediums and see if we can catch up to whoever's ahead of us. So before we jump into the race, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into the video. So coming into the race, you can see right here that we are in 4th place. You can see our Toyota back in the background there. And we are behind a Brazilian and 2 Canadians, as well as we have some Americans behind us as we come down the start-finish line now. Coming into lap number 1, we are starting in 4th place right behind the Brazilian now. Staying right behind him on the slipstream as we're going to go into turn number 1. Clip the brakes just a little bit as we head into this right-hander here. The 3rd place car actually makes a little bit of contact with the wall, so we're going to catch up to him a little bit as we come into this next right-hander. On his back bumper now, he covers his spot. We get a little loose and we've already made contact with the wall and lose a position to the American behind us. And we are demoted back into 5th place as we come down this long straightaway that's going to lead us into this quick right-hander here. Brake right before that red paint on the bottom line as we're going to go to the right hand side. You see 3rd place makes contact with the wall again, but look what happens ahead of us. The top 2 cars make contact and 1st place actually hits the wall, loses a ton of ground there. As you can see, we're catching up to him now as we're coming down the straightaway here. The blue car is right there on the right hand side. We're going to make a move onto the outside, but we're also getting a ton of time on the American ahead of us. We're going to move onto the inside, but we back out of the move there as we don't want to go side by side into these right hand corners, because that's one thing that you guys have to know when you go into these corners here, is that if you're going to make an overtake, you got to be committed, or if not, about to make the overtake before you hit the corners. Because if you guys try going side by side in some of these corners, well, you see the result right there, that it just slows you down so much, or you run the risk of getting punted out wide and hitting the wall as we make contact with their place coming to here. So as we say that, we get a little bit wide there, clip the wall, make contact with their place. We both beat and bang against the wall. You can see 1st place is just getting away from all of us as we're just racing really hard here. Coming down the start-finish line now, heading into lap number 2, going to the first right-hander now. We're going side by side here as we're going to try to keep it onto the inside here, make a little bit of contact with the car on the outside, but no harm, no foul done there as we are now going single file down the straightaway, heading down into the next fast right-hander. So jump into the replay here. You can see right here that we were just 4 wide, so it's just us 2 ahead of us and then 2 cars behind going side by side, and we make a little bit of contact with 4th place. We were just able to squeeze them out a little bit as we were able to get 3rd place from that. But now jumping down the straightaway, 4th place is trying to make a move on the outside here, but he's just a little too far back. Doesn't back out of the move there, so we're going to go side by side into the right-hander. We make contact with him again, but the car behind him actually makes contact with him too. The car on the outside actually made contact with the wall, loses a ton of miles per hour there as we're going side by side now, going to the right-hander. The car behind us backs out of the move there, as you can see on the radar as we head to the right-hander off of the tunnel now. We almost made contact with that left-hand wall, but we're able to keep it together as we jump up into lap number 3. So on lap number 3, we see 2nd place ahead of us, so our next objective now is basically just try to catch up to him and see if we can make an overtake on him before we go into the pit stops here. As I don't know if he's on the mediums or if he's on the hards too like us, so either way we got to get around him as soon as possible as we jump up into the end of lap number 3. So coming to the end of lap number 3, we make contact with the wall a little bit, but it doesn't hurt us too much as we're coming to the end of the lap, coming to the final corner now. We're still right behind the Brazilian. As you see, we're gaining time on him, but he just gets a little bit better of an exit there as we still are getting pressured from behind from the American as we head into the first right-hander now. Trying to clip the apex as best as we can and avoid making contact with the wall. We're able to do so as we're now on the back bumper of the Brazilian. Coming out of here, we're going to stay on the slipstream here. and hopefully try to gain some time on the straightaway as we head into this fast right-hander coming up. Staying right behind him on the slipstream. We're gaining a little bit of time on him. As you see, the car right behind us is on our slipstream too, but we're pulling away from the car behind. Heading to this right-hander, we actually get a really bad entrance here, and we lose ground now on the Brazilian ahead of us as we're fast forwarding to the tunnel. So coming to the tunnel section now, Brazilian goes a little bit out wide. He makes contact with the wall, and it's not going to end good for us. We make contact with the Brazilian, and we lose time there as we actually just propelled him forward as we make contact with his back bumper. And look how much time he gained from us as we made contact with him and the wall, slowed us down. But not only that, now we're getting pressure from behind. But luckily the Brazilian has a 1.5 second penalty as he dives into the pit road. So he goes into the pit road there. He's going to switch off from the hards to the mediums. As we're coming off of the final corner, we're able to get promoted into second place because of that. As we now set our sights from the car behind us, as he's catching up to us. He's only about 2 seconds, or not 2 seconds, but 0.2 of a second behind us. So coming to this fast right-hander, you can see on the radar that the car right behind us is really close to us as we're coming to this right-hander here. So now our focus is just to hit our lines, hit our marks, and just avoid the wall and avoid any type of mistakes that's going to cost us time as we head into the right-hander, leading us into the tunnel. So coming down into the tunnel, we see we pulled away a little bit from third place, so that gives us a little bit of breathing room as we jump up into lap number 7. Still going down the straightaway here. As you can see, the car on the radar is catching up to us, but it's a new third place car, and he's actually got a huge amount of time, or made a lot of time coming up on us as he's on the outside of us now. We're gonna go side by side into this fast right-hander, who's gonna keep it there as we make contact with the wall, and the Canadian's able to overtake us as we head down the straightaway, leading us into the right-hander that's gonna take us to the tunnel. So now we're behind the Canadians, so we're basically gonna follow him. It depends if he comes into the pits this lap or next lap. We're gonna follow him into the pits, so we don't risk losing time. As you see, he second place makes a little bit of contact with the wall as we're catching up to him now on this little straightaway. That's gonna lead us into turn number 1. So right behind the Canadians still, we're heading to turn number 1 to this fast right-hander, and we gain a ton of time on him as we're now on his back bumper here. He makes a little bit of contact with the wall, so that's gonna slow him down as we head into this downhill freeway section on this long straightaway. We're gonna stay right behind him on the slipstream and avoid trying to race him because I don't want to lose any time from the cars behind us, as we're gonna give him a little bit of a bump right there. Second place is pretty fast, so if we can just stay fast together and just help each other out, we could probably pull away from 4th place and 5th place, so that we don't have to worry about them when we come out of the pits and just focus on our own race and fight for second place. So coming to the right-hander now, going into the tunnel. Second place gets good run right there as we're still, nose to tail, but not fighting with each other. But he makes contact with the wall right there, so that gives us no choice but to try to make a move onto the inside. And we make contact with the wall and him, and we get a 1 second penalty because of that. So that's gonna really throw a wrench into our plans there as we are coming to the final few corners here, heading to the left-hander. Since we got our penalty, might as well just come into the pits. So we decided to come into the pits here. Gonna switch off from the mediums to the hards. Actually, I thought we started on the hards, but we actually started on the mediums. So switching off from the mediums to the hards. Let's see if we can try to keep in front of second place, but he's able to overtake us now. And the Brazilian overtakes us as we're heading into the first corner. So we still have to serve our 1 second penalty. As you can see, the car right behind us is only 1.2 seconds away from us. So we're going to the penalty zone. We have to serve our penalty. And let's see how many cars overtake us. 2 cars overtake us. This is the 2 Canadians. And now we're right behind them as we have to catch back up to them, put in some work, and at least try to overtake them so we can probably catch up to second place. As you can see, he's now starting to pull away. So coming to the final few corners now, we're right behind the Canadian. The Canadian ahead of us makes contact, but so do we, so we follow him into the wall. As we're coming to the final corner now, we're still catching up to the 2 cars ahead of us. But you see right behind us, there's another car catching up to us. So this is going to be a 5-way or 4-way battle as we come into the end of lap number 12 now. See, second and third are now fighting for position there as we're able to catch up to the Brazilian. Going down this straightaway that's going to lead us into the final few corners. Catching up to the pink car right ahead of us. He makes contact again, but we also make contact. We're just following in his footsteps into that corner right there as we keep making contact with the wall, slowing us down. As we come into the end of lap number 12, that's going to lead us into lap number 13. So now 3 laps left on this race. We have fresh hard tires as I think the Brazilian came in a little earlier, switched off from the hards to the mediums. As you can see, now we're catching up to the cars right ahead of us and just try to get distracted now as we come into the right-hander, coming down this long straightaway now. We're going 4 wide, but there's a car onto the outside of us that came out of nowhere, and it's the NSX right next to us. He's able to overtake us down the straightaway. Very, very daring move there as we come into this fast right-hander now. So it is turned to a 5-car race now. It's second through 6, trying to catch up to the second place car and try to make an overtake on us. Let's see how the NSX made an overtake on us. As he just got a really good run coming out of that right-hander. Pushed it down to the outside. We squeezed him out a little bit, but he was able to hold it together. And he was able to overtake us for 5th place. As he's now making an attempt to overtake the pink car ahead of us for 4th, but he backs out of the move there. So it's a train of cars here as we're heading to the bridge. And 4th place actually makes contact with the wall. 4th and 5th are beating and banging now, heading to the right-hander. 4th makes contact with the wall again, but 5th is trying to make a move on to the inside. He makes contact with 4th. They're beating and banging as we are now catching up to 5th place. He's actually going really, really slow, so we're going to make a move on to the outside. We make contact with him, but he bangs us into the wall, and we lose a ton of momentum going down the straightaway now, leading us into the final few corners. So we have to catch up back to the Canadians. You see 4th, 3rd, and 2nd are starting to pull away from us as we come down to the final few corners. It's going to lead us into lap number 14. So lap number 14 now, 5th place makes contact with the wall, and that's going to slow him down. So we're getting a good run coming into the first few corners. We're on the inside here. We're going to make a very daring move as we come into the inside. Are we going to be able to hold it together? Now we make contact with him, and we actually spin out, get a 1-second penalty, and that is race over for us as we make contact with the wall again, and it gives us a 2.5-second penalty because of that. And we are basically demoted from fighting for 5th place all the way down to 11th place as we're coming down the straightaway here. Let's see what happened. We just got very, very wide, pinched out the pink car. That was our fault. We probably could have backed out of that move there, and that costed us dearly as we are now in 11th place, now demoted into 12th place. The Brazilian puts more injury to the wound. We are now coming to the right-hander here. We're gonna have to serve our 2.5-second penalty. We serve our 2.5-second penalty. We lose 2 more positions, and we are demoted back into 14th place, almost into last place as we come into the final corner now on the final lap. We're going to finish this race in 14th after fighting for 5th position, as we can't place blame on anybody else besides ourselves, as we just went for a daring move on the inside of the Canadian there for 5th place. And honestly, we probably should have just backed out of that move there. We probably could have at least salvaged at least a 6th position, if not waited for another opportunity and made an overtake on another part of the track, and probably got 5th because of that. But that was on us, so we finished in 14th place. Well deserved. Sucks though, but really enjoyed this track. Really fun racetrack. A lot of fast sweeping corners, but again, you just have to stay very concentrated and just avoid any type of mistakes, as that can cost you dearly, as you saw right there what happened to us. So anyways, if you guys found that really entertaining, again, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel. And if you guys really enjoyed that video, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.